Hey girls, can you hear me okay? I don't know really where my volume is on. Oh, it's pretty freaking loud. Hold on. Is that a decent volume? Okay, cool. Kiddo had my headset for a while, so it is bent 86 ways to Sunday. And I don't even know if it fits my head anymore. Oh, good. Pix just set up her new Computron, a full ass computer now, which is awesome. Sorry for the silence. I was listening to 80s music. And other platforms I hop around on allow some of that. So I was like, oh, I can't. I want to listen to the end of the song, and I can't. If I turn the sound on now, like they'll just copyright strike the video. How do you keep kicking yourself out? Fair, fair enough. So, okay, so I'm in this particular channel, and I'm going to say this now because if there's only a few of us, I might not stay too long here. Um, but I will be probably back soon. I'm going to be coming here at least once a month. Joe Black, as we all know, is a soulmate person of mine that who passed pretty much Valentine's Day. And he has a brother, a younger brother that he has been in support of always. And I have grave concerns for that person. Now, the way money translates from here to there is pretty awesome in some ways. So I'm going to try to round to this particular channel once a month where people here knew him and he put in a lot of time. And once a month for his brother R, who, in my opinion, I'm just going to say opinion, right? Whether it's fact or not, because Joe Black, very private person, and we're going to keep it that way. But in my opinion, R, due to an unfortunate incident, gosh, like almost 10 years ago, has a traumatic brain injury. He does not work. I don't believe he probably can. And Joe was subsidizing him, primarily food, because that's all he really wants. And now his best friend and myself are worried. So once a month, I'm going to come here and do reads. They'll probably be more expensive than the normal reads, like somewhere between 15 and 20 bucks. And it will all literally go immediately to R. And if I can send $100 there a month, that's enough to keep him in food for the month. So I just wanted to put that out at the beginning because, if somebody stumbles on this and listens to it and goes, oh, this wind up being like rambling, I just wanted it to be the first 10 minutes that's really why I'm showing up on this particular channel at this time. I wish I could have done it even sooner, but I was able to send a little of my own dough. And then I lost my other friend March 16th. She was Mennonite, or is Mennonite, and that was another series of funereal experiences that were lovely. So I wish I could have been here sooner already fundraising for art, but it will only happen ideally once a month when all we really need is 5 or 6 reads. And if I sit here for 4 hours, surely that's a possibility. And then I'm probably going to be, as I have been, skipping around to just other platforms, doing my own little thing, but I will always come back here for him. And so that's, what needed to be said in the first 10 minutes. And oh my gosh, it happened in the first 9. It's amazing. So the good thing about today, if anybody winds up showing up needing a read, I know most people here had different reads, different places like already this week. And like Pixie, I was so fortunate I got to do like a full spiritual walkthrough of her new house, and it's awesome. It is awesome. Well, and that's okay too. Like you got a reading from Rochelle this week. Like so like I understand. Like people don't need to be like read every day. It's not like drinking water, you know what I mean? Um so I'm not worried. I'm not really worried about it right now. But yeah, so like I know like you got that reading, and then Pix, oh my gosh, I got to be talking to the spirits in her awesome house today, and most of them are some funny mother fluffers, um, which is going to be fun, I think, actually. I don't know how you feel about it now, Pixie. I don't know if you still would like them to sort of keep their distance or if it's going to be a big happy family. I think Mr. Dust maybe would be okay with some of them, but I don't know. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Let's shuffle. Yeah, you were wondering about her. Okay, I just saw that. Yes, she did not. She made it a month or so longer than some of us thought. Um, 2 beautiful full funerals in 2 different states. Um, was 33, which I just think is interesting. Happened right before Easter time, and Jesus was said to have been 33, and she was a very devout lady. Young lady, but lady. I don't think they're gonna scare you. I mean, the one is like, I love pink paint. Yeah, I also learned because she was a real big rule follower. So there were sometimes I asked her questions about her faith, and I think she wasn't always sure she could answer. But I got to spend a lot of time with her family, sort of digitally sitting in and standing by and communicating. And through a few conversations, decided, oh my gosh, I need to research Mennonites because I don't know very much. And they are, I mean, I know maybe other people aren't surprised. I didn't know. I was not educated. And so, um, to my surprise, they are, like, I think maybe they might be one of the most feminist Christian faiths. Um, I was shocked. Um, I was shocked. Um, how very feminist it was, how very open-minded it was about people of other orientations. I just, when you see people sort of dressing up like, I'm going to say pilgrims, I don't mean that with disrespect, but I don't want to compare the other religions that are more strict and more um, male dominated, I guess. So I'm going to use the word pilgrim and not mean it disrespectfully. But when someone dresses up like non-traditionally or extremely traditionally, really, you sort of see something and make assumptions about it. And I was way off about how I just had an old world impression that was completely inaccurate. And so Just like Joe is Hindu. He's a Hindu. And I had learned a lot from him, of course, about that. We had been practicing Diwali, observing Diwali and all the other holidays. I even did some of that long before we met, but and he had, of course, told me about some of his family funeral experiences, but some was exactly as he described, and some of it was very not, I was not ready. Pixie, thank you so much for that. I would love to do a reading for it if you have a question, even if it's just silly. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to park it in there and just leave it in there till I can send it all to his friend, because I think she's the one that's at least initially is going to be her and I working on the R project, right? And then we hope some of his very awesome friends who were lovely, many of his university friends that I got to meet through this process, who are lovely human beings. I'm hoping maybe some of them will participate too. Some of them are in very successful positions. Some of them are in very creative positions where we could maybe do some things with some of his amazing writing and drawing and things like that. Like, he has one friend in India. She's amazing. She's a filmmaker. And I'm hoping eventually we can collaborate on something for him. I don't know if I'm lagging or not, but I hope you know, Pixie. Thank you. Well, I mean, I know we like talked to the spirits in your house today, but you didn't really get to ask a question. So, like, even if you just wanted to ask a question of them, because clearly, like, we've all been connected today for a long time. They had a lot to say. Her house also, for all of you, everybody here knows Pixie. So I'm just saying this for people that might be listening later, because Kat, of course, is here and she knows Pixie, but like she's right here. So, but her new house is huge, enormous. The land is amazing and huge, enormous. And this is going to be just an amazing project when it's done. The energy, most, like, I'd say 95% of the energy is awesome. Some of the former residents are like so unbelievably psyched to have them there, updating the house and loving on the house that they had loved so long, that it was really cool. I feel like they are very for, and then even their dad who popped up. What I think is interesting is we haven't heard much from the sister's husband, and I find that curious. But he might be a man of few words. He might be out more outside, and we just didn't bump into him. Like, I don't know. But the sisters are there. The the one we have lovingly named Julia does more of the talking for both of them, but the other one we call Dorothy still chimes in and is there the whole time. And then their dad hangs out in this room. And so today he said a few things. And what's crazy is Pixie assigned rooms for things, right? So the room that she wound up assigning to be her hub's like man cave was it was the father's like upstairs study. That's where he hung out. And I don't think there's any way like we could have necessarily guessed that, because they had converted it in the meantime. When they split the house, they'd converted it to a kitchen or something. It was converted to something. I think I'm remembering that right. But anyway, it certainly didn't look like a study now, but Pixie still picked up, I guess, on the dude vibes, because that's where their dad hangs out, and that was his spot. Okay, good. I thought I was hoping I was remembering that right. But yeah, like, and so she just sort of knew, like, dude vibes. And then old guy, oh, he said we could call him George, didn't he? Because I don't want to keep calling him old guy. He jokingly said we could call him George. He said, you can love me and squeeze me and call me George. So I think, even though he was kind of stoic and he talked about coffee and the newspaper, and I had no idea where in the house we were, but he told me we're on the eastern side, so it's good for plants in the morning. And then I was like, are you on the eastern side? She was like, yep, that's where we are. So and he was like excited that her hubs likes indoor plants, and so they're gonna vibe in that man cave like crazy. But Pixie had already picked that room out, so like somehow, it's just like everything. Everybody has some kind of intuition, even if they don't know they have it. And she totally caught rode the dude waves the way down the hall to that room. It's because a lot of the rest of the house has either sort of nondescript energy, or the two sisters are just sort of everywhere. You did. You did nail it. Nailed it. Yeah, it's going to be super pretty. And like I couldn't even believe, like, because not the best visualizer, right? I'm not a visual person naturally. And that's how I know spirit's talking to me. But her mother, Pixie's mother, did such an outstanding job describing the exterior of this house, because I kept telling her, like, before they even had heard that, when she was still making a joke that her hubs didn't even have a friend with a house to give them or whatever, her mom was describing the house, and like she talked about a fake widow's walk. It's there. I saw the siding. I thought it was like tan colored, but it's just dirty white. The windows and the doors are in the exact same place. The porch and the pillars. I mean, her mother described the hell out of that thing. Like, and when I mean described, she painted it in my own brain for me. Like, which means either she and I both are collaborating with guides that are outstanding, and if that's the case, as always, thank you guys so much. But also, I suspect a lot of it was Pixie's mom, like, because she's so, like, everybody has different gifts, just no matter where we are, whether we're in physical or non or whatever. And I think she must have been very good at visual stuff, because she's so spectacular. She gives such spectacular, like, photographic perfect images. Yeah, because I kept trying to describe it, and the part I got wrong, I got even like one of the chimneys right, but I got the roof wrong. But what's crazy is the roof that I saw was on the house next door that they actually own too, and they're tearing it down and using those parts for this house. And so the part that I had wrong, the roof part, was on the house that's like half. When I say half a yard, I mean not a yardstick, right? I mean like a normal, like, suburban yard, half a yard away or whatever. No, when her mom came and told her, don't buy spooky house, there's this other house, and I was trying to describe it for Pixie, we were all over Zillow looking in her town and the two nearby towns for a picture that matched. I don't know if there's a Zillow listing. But this was something that happened like 2 weeks or so before they even knew this house existed. And we were just all over Zillow, and she was sending me pictures, and I was like, that's not it. It's like, that's not it either. And then I thought, maybe I just got it all wrong. And then today it was like the lattice work was there, the windows around the doors. It was like, my God, Maggie, you are good. It was really cool. But we did. I think we spent 3 hours looking at Zillow listings like 2 weeks before the man approached Mr. Dust with the offer. And it wasn't there. It wasn't listed. The other thing the residents told me today that I didn't know, but that they were able to confirm or verify, is that this lady had put the house on the market like 5 or 6 years ago now. I guess maybe closer to 7. I think you said 2017 or 2018. But the spirits were the spirit residents were the ones that said that. Are you talking about their YouTube, Miss Cat? Because the problem for me on the YouTube was like that because they hadn't removed all of the previous residents' enormous collection of things. There were things like laying up in front of the house that blocked all the windows, that blocked the porch, right? And so I couldn't see it. You couldn't see the house. What name? I don't even know what she had up there. Like if it was like, was it like just porter board? Oh yeah, maybe Pix knows her own YouTube channel. It's we bought a hoarder house, right? We bought a all one word at YouTube, because I know they have a video up, but I don't know now because I've been kind of away until like I've been smattering, just with people who had emergencies and things. But other than that, I've been kind of away. So I do not technically know if you guys have a new video where it's not blocked. But the last thing I saw on there, it had just whatever all that was, where you couldn't see the porch. It looked like almost like it was fully enclosed or something. You couldn't see those windows. And then like the shrubbery, the shrub. I want to be a shrubbery. Um, Turning me into a shrubbery. Um, we have the knights who go, Nate. Sorry, I had a Monty Python Tourette's, but like yeah, the shrubbery also, like you just couldn't see anything. And so it was like, I was like, well, that doesn't look quite like what I thought. And she was like, well, you can't see it. I was like, okay, that's fair, because like it really did, like early on, it didn't look like there were any front windows or really porch at all. It almost looked like it had like a shack front, or like there'd been a fire or something. And so they had put like boards up in the front temporarily or something. That's not the case. Although the residents told us about a fire today. It wasn't a big fire, but at some point there was a fire. And then Pix found a door with scorch marks all up the side of it, which was super weird. It did really look like a shanty, because it just was boards and like bushes. yeah, they were talking about the fire, and she was like, I don't think so. And then, like, 10 minutes later, she was like, look at this door. It's like, are you kidding me right now? I guess I shouldn't say that because the guides are so good and kind, and these sisters that live there and their father that we've met, they're friendly and talky and lovely, and so, and they're so powerful, right? So, like, just communicating with them is very easy. Um, it's very easy, which is nice. Aw, hi, Ellie. It's really good to see you. Thank you for answering that question. So to narrate, do you mind if I narrate what we're talking about? Okay, so Nell just popped in, and I've seen her a little bit, but I haven't talked to her much. And what we're talking about, just because like it feels weird to like talk and then not tell you guys since we're on a live, but so being what her religion was, they did certainly believe that someone like me, um, you know, psychics, mediumship, might be sort of witchy poo, like, might be sort of, I don't know, of the devil. And she told me several times, I love you and I do not think you're evil, but I cannot come to that channel of yours, which was killing me when she was in the process of passing, because she had loved ones all around her that I couldn't mention, and they were doing beautiful things. And I really wanted to tell her and bring her that comfort, but I knew she would feel like she was very much betraying her own goodness for me to talk about that. So who I was talking to now is my friend Nell, the one that passed on March 16th. And I have seen her a few times and she looks beautiful, but I have, and we've waved, but I haven't reached out because I wasn't sure, even for sure, how she'd feel about what I do, even from the other side, like especially at first, right? Um, but she just popped in and she kissed me at the top, like right of my forehead. And she said, I wanted to come just peek in at your channel because I'm not afraid of it anymore. And so she says, okay, she's saying now that she doesn't want to be the full focus of this conversation for much longer, but that she's happy to be here. And she's like, I did she's clarifying, I did give her permission to share that part, but like, I don't want this whole encounter to be about me. That's fair. Can I ask you one silent question? Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, well, I'm sending you like, that's a wonderful hug. Thank you. And of course, stick around. But I know, like you're saying, I respect. I won't call any more attention to you. But thank you. I love you too. It's really good to see you. Okay, I won't. I want to though, because I'd like to brag on you, but that's okay. All right. She says, "Nice to meet you, ladies." She'll be watching. She'll be watching. I think it's funny that then the chat number went up to 3. Sometimes I go, "Is that a joke? Was that a joke?" But yeah, I'm just she didn't want me to give, right? It did. I think that that's what's interesting. It could be someone else who hasn't spoken yet, which is fine. Hello, if someone else is here, welcome. But uh, yeah, um, so I'm not allowed to give you details, but I'm going to say she looks amazing in spirit, and in my opinion, already holds a position that some of us could only dream of. That's what I'll say to be to brag about her without being too detail oriented. She just pinched me. um, um, yes, I've interacted with Joe. I might, on some of those other platforms be doing things. I might do something like I've been thinking about like mourning as a medium, like a series about that, because it makes the process both more reassuring and also infinitely more complex, and in those ways infinitely more difficult. um, and so while I know a lot of people are like, wish I had this, I I think people should not tread carefully, because it's not a scary thing, but I think they should certainly take their time wading in. Like if people have psychic abilities, however they want to frame mediumship abilities, things like that, rather than trying to get your like master's degree in um, in a couple of years in the thing, even if you're capable of doing it. Some of the facts of the matter are that we are still humans having a physical experience, even when we're interacting with that other energy. And if you sort of don't have decade or more to sort of acclimate yourself to, this is just a metaphor, but to the temperature change, um, it I think it could in some cases be more harmful than beneficial. Um, so I think that there should be so many more people, if they are interested in becoming spiritual or religious or whatever it is, that should look into it if they feel a calling. But a lot of people want to rush, and it's almost like, I don't know, a lot of training for different things. Like it's not like, I guess, training to be an accountant, and no insult on accountants, right? They have very important jobs. It's more like training to be like a firefighter or a policeman, or um, like a trapeze artist or a high wire act, something where you are at sometimes physical, but almost more often than that, psychological danger if you're not taking the time to prepare yourself. Well, and the truth of the matter is you can give him your love at any time. You don't need me to do it. Just like you can do the same. With all of your loved ones that you've known throughout your life, you can do the same with all of your friends. Really, you can do it with people that are still in physical, if you really think about it, because we're all souls. And it's interesting once you start practicing sending like thought forms and energy balls and things directly to people that are having their physical experience. When you really like start to focus on that, it's really interesting how fast they feel it. Like they don't, I do it a lot now. It's part of a practicum I've been sort of, I'm interested in. And it's fascinating to me how if I send one, I get a near immediate response. They don't really, I don't think necessarily know why they thought of me or anything like that, but it is immediate almost. And so, you know, you can, we can send that energy to each other in very similar, maybe not the same ways, but similar ways. But in the same way that it's important to be careful with this kind of work in that way, it's really, people should really check their energy a lot more and take a lot of deep breaths before they send anything anywhere. And I'm like, letters in the mail, emails, texts. I mean, I think letters in the mail might be a little different because it takes us a little longer to handwrite it or type it out or whatever, and then we proofread it and we sort of, you know, have to spend some time with it. But things are so fast these days with like a email and text and voice message and sending emojis, and you know, that a lot of times people don't really center or think about the words, and words carry energy, and that energy can, once you start paying attention, can betray a lot of people in terms of um, being able to feel what they really wanted you to feel, but also what they were really feeling at the time. And when it doesn't align, that's not like a bad thing, right? Everybody's just a human being, but it you'll find it rings a little untrue. It's a really interesting litmus test once you start focusing. Well, we were talking about this with Mr. Dust a little bit today, and everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. I think that, at least I can speak from my experience and some of my close friends or and family members and stuff that have these things. Um, Things come pretty fast for me now, and primarily, not primarily, but it's a combination. But clairsentience is pretty fast for me these days. But if I hadn't had all that time playing charades, like I had a few decades of not hearing a thing and playing charades with them where it was just strictly visual. And I think that um, for not everybody, but for me, and potentially a lot of other people, that starting off with seeing is a way to ensure that then I went to be able to like hear them, not just sentiently, like out externally, right? And then it went to clairsentience, and like claircog stuff. And if I hadn't had those other steps first, even though sometimes those were scarier, I wouldn't have known which voices were theirs and which were my thoughts. do you know what I mean? I would have just been like, wow, my thoughts are all over the place today. Or, um, gosh, I just can't keep my thoughts straight. Um, so I had a long time of practicing. When I saw them, they had certain energy markers. So then when I started hearing things, I could tell the difference between an auditory hallucination, which I would get sometimes when I was doing like chelation therapy, IVs, and stuff for Lyme disease. I would get true auditory hallucinations that had nothing to do with spirit, right? But because I had that gift of knowing their energy markers really well, I could tell the difference between the auditory hallucinations from like the die off of bugs and things, and and from something that was coming from spirit. And otherwise, I think maybe some people that have that some of the people that maybe get like the claircognizance immediately, those some of those more of them might be in the madhouse than the people that get stepped in gently. I got you with the black eyes today. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I missed. Oh, yeah. Well, did I say black though? Like, it feels like when you first, and this is not malice. I think it's because it's where a lot of us, just like with those of us that are in physical, right? When you make eye contact with someone, you know it can be really intense, right? Whereas you can watch them walk all around like the grocery store and it's no big deal, and then you lock eyes and it's like, whoo. But yeah, so I don't think I said, if I said black eyes, I didn't mean to, but because they aren't always black, but when you look them in the eye, it feels like a clap of lightning. Oh yeah, no, I don't see a void. Actually, it's more like electricity, or glow or something. I'm not sure. I know we were on Google Chat wandering around. I was. I wanted to know in his case if he was seeing like what looked like black and white photographs, but then surrounded by a color, right? So I do remember asking him, like, do you see them in black and white, like the spirits, right? But then, like, with a full aura of like, it's like a black and white picture, but stained a pretty blue or stained a gray or stained a pink, you know. Um, I think that's where I think that's where we accidentally crisscrossed. I think it's amazing that he just sees them just full color, full apparition, full color. Um, we got off the call and I asked my guides, I was like, that's so cool. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. There's noise in my house. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I think it was at my attic spirit activity, which it's been going on for like 9 or so months. But because I have a headset on, I like wasn't sure it was muffled. I think that, when I thought about it later, I think certainly the one when he was younger was an experience that a lot of kids have. So probably isolating the man and the woman would be the way to figure out more about who he sees. And I literally learned in a conversation I was having with my cousin yesterday, between her and spirit, and something she was like, is there something in my front yard? And I heard a new word that I'd never heard before, and I heard it was territory angel. And I was raised in like a sort of Judeo-Christian way, at least somewhat. And so I use the word angel. Some people might use territory spirit, territory protector or something. And I was like, what is that? What can you tell me what that is? And anyway, they did a lot of explaining, and I'm wondering if that's something that if that's the frequency Jimmy is on. It would make a lot of sense if he was, because just like how they classify light workers, and I don't know if I always believe in every single classification, but at least it's a way to try and describe things, I guess, for people. And since there's such a wide range of experiences, right? But like, just like when they talk about, like, they use the word light worker, and then they talk about there's all these different types of workers, right? Some of them are grid workers, and some of them are, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think it might be that, or at least that what they were trying to explain a little bit yesterday is that, just like we do that, some of us energetically in our physical experience, there are even more in non-physical that do jobs like that do all, that fill all of those different categories as well. So if he's like, let's say he's a grid worker, well then that's going to be the first frequency he picks up, is the other grid workers, right? Because that's the frequency he's out. And in my opinion, right, nothing's fact, but that's why there is such an amazingly awesomely wide variety of people, even just on the internet, that identify as whatever word they want to use, psychic, medium, clairvoyant, whatever, and why some of them are so strongly gifted in like knowing a lot about like politics. And I don't mean politics like they studied them, but just sort of understanding the way the energy is moving with the powers that be in governing bodies, right? And some of them seem amazing at that, and then solid in other areas, but like it's not their number one best thing, right? And then there's some other people that, my gosh, they rock the crap out of crime, right? And then they can do other things, but it's just they're not as accurate or as amazing as they are on crime or whatever, and so on and so on. And so I think that some of that is, initially, when you're first clarifying the beacon you put out, anything that's like that beacon, whether we're talking about your actual vibration or your density, to put it in science terms, you're going to first find all the energy that that matches those things. And just they make freaking bumper stickers that just say it to us, like casually, just as physical beings, right? Where your vibe is your tribe. Like what you put out is the first thing you draw in. I think just like everything, everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. And can we learn each other's skills? Yeah, I think to a certain degree, but everybody's like got natural given talents and then skills they work for, you know. Okay, that's a cat. I was like, come on, guys, like all the noise. Whomever number 3 is, hello. We're glad you're in the room. What did you just think about? Um, I've been thinking about that a lot because I've been thinking about him in particular actually because um, sorry, I just got a junk email that made me laugh. It just popped right up. Um, so, um, well, actually, I was thinking about it because number one, I've been talking with the egg a little bit about if he wants to take his blinders off because we put them on. He actually um, was distressed with things he was seeing when he was like, I can't remember if he was 2.5 or 3. And I was like, look, they love you and they're only here to love you. So you just have to say, I don't want to see you and mean it. Right. And so he did. And then he stopped and immediately, what is going on? Hold on. Okay, Spirit and my pets are just having a freaking heyday. Um, so, um, so we were talking about that, and then my cousin got a warning because she was wanting to dive into some of this stuff, and actually, I think she asked it in the group chat. She asked people about tarot cards, and then like it immediately came through that they're like, "Stop her! Tell her she can only have one deck." And I was like, "That's going to sound pretty crummy coming from somebody that has a lot of decks. Like, why, like, why do I say that?" And it turns out it's about 2 of her kids, one in particular, and about stirring up the energy when she's, you know, really gifted. And then Kat was in a live the other day talking about a young family member of hers, right? So Bentley was on my mind just in general. And what really needs to happen is um, we need to help him completely shut down the factory. And yeah, no, I saw it, but I wanted you to be able to say your information or not, Miss Cat. Um, you know, because I don't know. You know, like I want you to choose where you say what you want to say, right? But I did see, you know, a young family member, but the thing, the interaction, and so in his case, if we could, the best session we could do would be shut down the whole factory, and then restart it after a while. Okay, good. Just wanted to clarify. Um, but um, because so far everybody there, I mean, like with Bentley, I mean, that just needs to happen for his peace of mind in life. 10. Egg is 10. And so he's been saying to, I want to, now he like we even like we like we wrote up a thing when he was that toddler age about what he wanted to keep and what he wanted to not participate in at the time, right? And he wanted to keep what he calls the dots. He does something that I cannot do, which is he can he's teaching me sort of, and my Reiki classes are teaching me and stuff, but he calls them body dots. And he can see areas of heat and cool, um, inflammation and tension and things. Almost looks like a twister board, but on the body. And so he wanted to keep that, and he wanted to keep auras, like seeing auras, and so that's what he kept. that's how it went. And yeah, anyway, so like, that worked out for him. So I know that Bentley, though, has other family members that have really clouded that whole field and done some serious damage. But once I did that with Kiddo, which has now been like 7 years ago, right? Anytime I've had other people directly ask me what should I do with my child, my first line of advice, because it worked so well, what is to say, write out all the things, have them not, and don't suggest anything, right? Let them tell you, like, what are all the things you like that you see, and just don't tell them whether other people see it or not, right? And then what are the things you don't like, right? And then you write out a plan. And because the human mind is so amazing, and especially at that age, as long as you're a trusted person to them, they believe you, and their mind is so powerful that they can just be like, nope. Also, spirit loves them a tremendous amount, and they'll just knock it off too, but I think a contract is a great way to delineate. It's also an amazing way to get a better idea of what they're experiencing. But because so far in your house, like the ladies listen really well, and the gentleman does, and again, like I said, there's like 5% we need to maybe explore and some stuff outside or whatever. The only things, I mean, first of all, like if we're unable to have a session with him, right? Or if like it's sort of too late to back up the turnip truck because of some of the things that like the other mother-in-law, I think the other grandma has done or whatever, then just anytime before he comes over, you and I could just sit down for 5 minutes and have a conversation with the household. Now, the thing about that is then that does not then prohibit anything that he might carry with him into your house from bothering him. But, we could also put up energetic barriers that only like his guides, and angels can come inside, Well, and I think based on what you told me, his dad's messed up because of her too, right? Like his dad, I think if he had been treated with more gentility when he was younger, having his early experiences, he'd be far less terrified now. and he would either by now just successfully shut it down for himself and blocked it, or would at least tolerate, tolerate it and ignore it or whatever.